Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Hearthstone. So, we did the Tavern Brawl to mostly do all of the victories we needed. And we're actually now ahead, and since the season ended, it's time to get our rank back up. So, we now have this new pie. That's actually a quite nice one, as far as the 3D assets and all that. Let's see, when you get that little flip there. Let's go back to some of the original ones and let's see which one would have been the most classic of cards. Some of these other ones again, I wish there was some way you could get these, but they're just gonna be there forever and tease me. Here's classic. So classic, feels like they might have upgraded these too. Card backs don't really mean anything, however, so let's talk about the things that do mean something. We have Wild Hunter, I hope, because I got rid of something. Wild Hunter, ranked mode Wild Hunter. We need to get back up on ranked, is what we need to do. And we need to cover a lot of the talk here. If I get one victory on the Hunter, then
versus Malfurion.
We've done all of the quests,
protect the one.
but we still need to do Hunter stuff. The Zero Escape series is coming to PC, so some of the Zero Escape series was already out on PC. It's also coming to PlayStation 4 and Vita. Noticeably, it's not coming to the Xbox One, and that's because it's a Japanese game, room escape game, anime style stories, kind of like Saw, but way more dramatic and probably a little less bloody. And so, because it's a Japanese thing, it's only coming to PlayStation, Sony PlayStation Vita. I guess the Vita still has some sales in Japan. I'm a little bit surprised of that. With the Nintendo Switch coming out in a few months, or very close to when this is airing, I kind of wonder if it's going to get mini sales even in Japan, because I'm not sure what the world is like in Japan as far as console gaming. I'm not sure if it's just all cell phones. Remember, the Japanese have had cell phones that could watch their TV stations over there for a long time and do a lot more. So, for a long time, they were better than much better cell phones than what we were having. But they may have actually reached a parity there. So they may all have iPhones as much as people in the West have iPhones, and all around the world have iPhones. And if that's the case, well, that would mean that whatever gaming is happening on an iPhone or an Android phone today is worldwide equal, which means, again, the Vita still has a reason to exist, because I will fully admit that a dedicated gaming console versus a cell phone, for the moment, has a better experience. Eventually they'll fix that. PlayStation 4 is really the only console you would get in Japan if you're going to get a console. But then there's PC too. So I wonder if that means that PC gaming is starting to become a little bit more popular in Japan. If that becomes the case, that's really good for me, because that means more Japanese games would come stateside via Steam. And I kind of think that is part of the truth. I think more Japanese games are going to start coming to Steam. I think that Steam may very well have decided to expand its outreach towards Japanese publishers. Independent publishing and all that isn't huge in Japan, and so this might be an interesting thing. And I do want to play the Zero Escape series. When I'm going to do it, I don't know. To be honest, this month I could only spend literally $1 on a Humble Bundle to get 3 games. And that was my entire budget. That's because my hard drive on my server crashed and I needed to upgrade the space issue. I'm doing Skyrim Remastered Edition right now. It's actually not taking up as much space as I thought it might, because Skyrim itself is only 8 gigabytes. I have the slight thought of doing some mods on Skyrim after we cover the whole thing, but there's almost no reason to do that. There is this weird, dangerous scenario where my channel starts to get a lot of views because I play Skyrim, and then I would just have to go deep into that and
you're dead.
Intentionally out at that point continue to play Skyrim forever, and then I would have 2 series in which I played forever. And if that's the case, I might even move Skyrim into the Hearthstone time slot, but I don't think I would, because Hearthstone is still getting views.
The land serves me.
That becomes an issue. In the end, I don't want to change my channel to like just all Skyrim play through. I didn't ever really want it to be an all Minecraft thing when that was a possibility. I don't want it to be an all Skyrim thing. Let's see. If I play this and this, and then we do this, and this, and then good. But if it gets my channel views, it gets my channel views, and then I have to do that. I don't think I'd ever 100% abandon the idea of doing retrospectives. There's too many games in my collection right now for that to make any sense. I guess if I was making millions of dollars on what I was doing now and it just stopped mattering, I could stupidly add to a Steam library and with no real intention of ever playing the games. There's certainly a handful of games in the library already that I own through getting bundles that are just too old. But to take approximately 400 of those games and say I'm never going to do a spotlight on them, I don't like that idea. I would prefer my channel be more varied and have something. I'd like to try to catch all of the outlying people who don't particularly watch Hearthstone or potentially Skyrim or Minecraft. I want to get those other people. I did definitely enjoy getting new viewers from doing the Kerbal Space Program, despite the fact that the Kerbal Space Program was a pain of a game to play, and I didn't make good recordings there.
Time waits for no one.
So that is
A natural mistake.
a good example of something I would want to just keep doing. So let's just see if we can go through all of these in order. So the Uncharted films have a new director. Oh man, I cannot read it. Sean Levy. There we go. That's their new director. He did Night at the Museum, Date Night, and Real Steel. So the original Night at the Museum, I think, is pretty light. Date Night, I don't think was very good, and Real Steel was sort of light. So I think you're probably going 50-50 here. We know that the guy that made the horrible video games has retired from making movies, and I wonder if he might have been signed on secretly to the Uncharted film, and then they kicked him off, and that was his the final straw. That's Uwe Boll. So you're running 50-50 for an Uncharted movie. I think one of the biggest issues you could worry about for the Uncharted movie is they've got to either get that way before, a month before or more, the Indiana Jones movie, or way after the Indiana Jones movie. And if you're gonna go after a movie that might run in people's minds for 6 months, you're talking 6 months to a year. Yeah. So either they've got to get this movie before Indiana Jones airs by, I would say, if you wanted to run in theaters for 2 months, which is a pretty long run for an Uncharted movie, it's probably not going to happen there. You got to be 2 months before Indiana Jones. Or you've got to be somewhere at least 6 months after Indiana Jones and to a year after Indiana Jones. And see, the problem with being after it is if Indiana Jones runs in theaters for 6 months, then it's an amazing thing. Or there's some other adventure movies out there that I can't think of that are somewhat similar to Indiana Jones, or they get pushed to get away from Indiana Jones, because that's the big worry. You're struggling to find a time slot that is actually during that summer adventure blockbuster time frame, and say Indiana Jones runs for 2 months in theaters, which again would even be a lot for Indiana Jones, then it would only be a couple of more months before they start to release some Blu-ray or start to talk about some Blu-ray for it. And that's really what starts to destroy your time slot there. So I hope the Uncharted movie is good. Maybe they'll take their time with it and it won't come out for a really long time. Like, if they take another year on it, it wouldn't be a bad idea. Steam is to ban non-screenshots with its next update. So, with the next update of Steam, there's a great expansion there, great improvement for the consumer's sake. It's going to certainly help curb people just immediately refunding games, which I imagine this is what's part of this, is that they're starting to see refunds happen a lot on games that have fake CG screenshots that depict things completely different than what they are. they've done it to their own thing because Dota 2 also had like non-screenshot images happening there.
On with the show!
So they use that as an example, and it's a real great thing. Now, the way it's phrased, it's like non-screenshots in the screenshots section. Does that mean in the next update there's going to be a non-screenshot section? Is there something else that will happen or will come about that just allows you to pull off the same tricks you've always been able to pull off with staying within the letter of the law as far as
On with the show!
the actual rules? That's what means to it. Steam has been trying to improve things, definitely, though. Steam wants to become this better service. It's obvious they wanted to help improve on that. Speaking of Steam, I don't even think oh yeah, here I put it. GameStop's publisher Congregate, which puts out, I think, mostly garbage games. But like, I could be totally wrong about that. Maybe there is something on Congregate that makes more sense. But Congregate is going to start now putting oh, that didn't work at all. I misplayed all of that. That was terrible. So yeah, Congregate's gonna start publishing on Steam. That's good because that gives
Something needs tinkering?
the thing about GameStop is that they are a big factor, unfortunately, and all the publishers and developers can't just get rid of them. We need stores that sell the game, and the thing I kind of wouldn't want to happen is for all video game stores to become Toys R Us Electronics, which is, I imagine, what would happen. Like, if GameStop just went out of business tomorrow, either those stores are all going to get abandoned. Now, GameStop sucks for many different reasons, but you don't want all those stores abandoned. You don't want all those people out of work. We don't want... I don't want them to...
Gladly.
End up... Let's see, I guess I couldn't summon the boom bots. Interesting.
For the eye.
To the slaughter!
But if they became Toys R Us Electronics or Toys R Us Minis, that would also kind of be a little weird. Although it might be better, because it wouldn't be too much to say we're gonna take all the used video games off the shelf, and we're gonna put some of the best toys on the shelf, other toys and board games and such. But then this also destroys the used video game market, and then we don't want that to happen because then there's nothing stopping the publishers from increasing the prices. So we need GameStop here. We need somebody that's going to have a used video game market to compete a little bit to keep the prices down, even though it's a terrible system as it is. Maybe if GameStop went out of business and then they all became these independently owned stores that would actually compete on price as far as used video games, that would be interesting. But then they'd effectively just be pawn shops, and there's a lot of legal systems there, and I don't feel personally like pawn shops lower the price of TVs and stuff at Walmart or at any other store or Target or anything like that. Even though almost every city has a pretty large amount of pawn shops, you probably don't know where they are or go in them. But so there's a lot of things there, and that really even doesn't even have much to do with the publishing arm of GameStop. I guess if Congregate can make some good games, there's no complaint that's legitimate to not have them on Steam. I want everything on Steam. Steam again becoming the new GameStop in a lot of ways. But there's the Windows 10 store. There's plenty of other things to at least think about.
Job's done.
There's Uplay, there's Origin, all of those suck, but it's competition. Let's see, what is this one next? Yeah, there's an image leak that suggests necromancers are coming to Diablo 3, or Diablo 2, or Diablo 4 is coming out. Right now, BlizzCon is going on, so there is this idea that potentially Diablo 4 could be announced or teased. That I wouldn't be surprised if they announced Diablo 4 and said it's in production and it's not anywhere near being done, because StarCraft is kind of going down. They have Overwatch, they have Hearthstone, they have a Warcraft update. How many different things can Blizzard do? They're getting spread a little thin. So if they said Diablo 4 was out and it's going to be out next week, that seems silly. That seems like too much. And I don't think they can keep that pace. Furthermore, I'm not sure if Diablo works in this new world. Death rattle, death rattle, death rattle. This is the only way I can play
The
anyway.
beasts betrayed me.
So I need to attack here. Attack here. So yeah, it wouldn't even be super surprising if they didn't actually do anything for Diablo, but I bet they do something. They talk about it a little bit. Blizzard and Bethesda combined are both becoming growing big publishers, and I guess we need that because we don't want more of the EA, although I think EA actually owns Blizzard. We don't want things like Ubisoft, basically, and Ubisoft is in danger of being taken over, which would make it worse. So let's move on to the next thing, because I don't have a coherent point on that. Sega teased a new Daytona USA arcade cabinet. This is, of course, Sega Amusements UK teased us, so not actually Sega of Japan.
The beasts betrayed me.
It's very possible that some new arcade cabinet is coming out.
For the eye.
Does that mean there's going to be a Daytona USA video game? No. Microsoft enables offline play for Windows 10 games somehow. I didn't read the full article because I'm never going to play with the Windows Play Store. I already know it. There's a major difference between playing on the Windows Play Store as far as quality and as far as being forced into playing something like Origin or Uplay. Uplay, begrudgingly, if I want to play the game, a Ubisoft game, I may have to play on Uplay, and it sucks. But I wouldn't. If Microsoft published only all of its games on the Windows 10 Play Store, I would just easily say, well, I'll just never play any of the Microsoft games. And you're talking at most a couple. Just a small number of games that I would put out there. And not really anything right now. Quantum Break is on Steam, so if I ever want to play that, I'll play it. And I'm not sure I particularly want to, but that's it. So, next one we have somebody had a laptop somewhere and somebody took a picture of it, and so there's a leaked image that seems to imply the next game in the Tomb Raider series is called Shadow of the Tomb Raider. I also heard that it's not being made by the same people who've been making the first reboot and the Rise of the Tomb Raider sequel to the reboot. Crystal Dynamics, I believe, is that company. So here's where I can get into some speculation. The name Shadow of the Tomb Raider seems too dark for the third game in that trilogy. It seems too dark, unless something happened in Rise of the Tomb Raider, because I haven't played that game yet. Unless something happens where she becomes incredibly, like, dark, cynical, or evil, taken over by some kind of power or something, it doesn't make a ton of sense that you would take that name. Shadow of the Tomb Raider is something closer to a fourth or fifth game. I would say the third game would much more likely be called Death of a Tomb Raider, and then the fourth game would be Shadow of a Tomb Raider. So you can bring her back halfway through the fourth game or something else, and you could imply that you're playing as a different character. Shadow of the Tomb Raider implies that you're not even really playing as Lara Croft. So that's where my speculation comes from, that this is actually not the third Tomb Raider game's title. I wouldn't be surprised if it is a offshoot, particularly since it's not Crystal Dynamics working on it. In another way, it might be like the Arkham Knight trilogy type thing, where they have a different company make the third game, and then they disavow that third game and say, "Oh, that's not a real one."
Bring out your dead.
Darn it! I played wrong. We have at least 4 other minions. Darn it! Oh well. So yeah, that's my speculation there. It may very well be that it is just gonna be called Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Now, next thing I want to talk about, I guess I'll skip over this. THQ Nordic, which was Nordic Games, I think before, has bought out, let's see, was it Delta Force and Nova Logic? So and the rest of Nova Logic. So Delta Force apparently is made by Nova Logic. It seems like they make a bunch of military simulator style games. So I don't know. Like, I don't know what any of these games are. It seems like they're just buying licenses to own licenses on Steam. I bet if I looked up Delta Force, it probably still sells for a few dollars on Steam, and they're just trying to own back catalogs,
To master.
which I guess is a fine way to do things. If I could just play something here. Like this character is 9. So I guess I should play this.
Job done.
And then end the turn. So how long have we been playing? We've been playing about 30 minutes, and I still have a few things to talk about in the next recording. And we still have some ranked play to do, and we still have some victories to get. So I think we're gonna get this all working well. Very surprised here I was able to make enough to stretch this into 3 recordings. After recording this, I need to go back to
I've been
Skyrim,
inside that thing for months.
which, man, Skyrim is a little boring. It frankly is. 5-year-old game, it doesn't stand up. There's just no way around it.
Tonight, a tale of terror.
Sad to say, but I think you can only play Skyrim once, and that's it. I don't think there's anything more to it than that. Let's see. So all the quests are done. Good. But yeah, I'll get into it, I guess, more next recording, maybe. That's it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment if you want to, and watch every second of my videos. All that helps out. If you want to support me further, you can click on my name, Rydo. On the right will be a blue button that says support this channel. Click it, make a donation. And if you want to friend or follow me on basically any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.